Hi, I'm Randy Wynn. Brett Dennen is an artist we've been playing on WMNF for 15 years. His music can sound like folk, rock, or R&B. He's an independent singer-songwriter pursuing his own vision. I'm happy to have a chance to talk with him. So, Brett, good afternoon. You grew up in rural Central California, and I've read a couple of places that you credit your summer camp experience as your major factor into your entry into music. Can you tell us a little bit about that, and maybe about growing up in farm country in California? What's all of that about? How did you become a singer-songwriter? Tell us about the beginnings.
Yeah, well, I grew up in a place that to me is like, it's the heart of California. It's the real California, but most people don't think of it or have any idea what like California could be like. But I'm in this central San Joaquin Valley is where I grew up. It's you can see it on the map. You see it in between the Sierra Nevada mountain range and the coastal mountain range. It's just this big swath of flat land that at one time was supplying most of the country's food. It's still like the biggest producer of almonds and dairy and lots of other vegetables. But when I was growing up, it was
now, that's not part of California where they grow marijuana, is it?
Well, everywhere in California is where they grow marijuana now. But no, like when you're probably famously and historically, there's a part of California that they call the Emerald Triangle, which is where people would grow humongous outdoor marijuana crops and hide them in the redwood trees and in the madrone trees and be kind of off the grid and off the radar. That would be Humboldt County. That would be Humboldt County.
So that's up north.
Mendocino County, Shasta County. Well, that's even further north and on closer to the coast.
Okay, well, we're not here to talk about marijuana too much, but I just want to talk about your summer camp experience, where you said that was like a big deal for you, where you got into music. So what was going on there?
Well, the
sing-alongs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, the best part of growing up where I grew up is that it's at the foothills of the Great Sierra Nevada Mountains, and I was lucky enough that about an hour and a half up the mountains from where I grew up was this really cool rustic mountaineering camp that my mom went to when she was a kid, and we had a family tradition of going to. And so I went, my sister went, my brother went, and we all loved it. And that's sort of became our identity. We were mountain nature camping.
Did they have counselors who played music or something like that? How did music get into from going to that camp?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was my favorite part of the program. Was every night there'd be counselors playing guitar at a campfire, singing old folk songs, and it made me want to be a camp counselor who played guitar. But it also shaped, I think, my taste in music and the songs I like to write. So it always comes from that whatever feeling is evoked when you sing, when just a person with a guitar can sing a song and make a little magic around a campfire.
Now, when you got a little older, did you go back and become a counselor?
Yeah, I was a counselor for many years, and I had other jobs at the camp as well. But that was what I dedicated my life to. That for a while was educating and guiding kids in the outdoors.
Wow, that sounds so great. Hey, listen, I saw where you indicated that an album that influenced you early was Paul Simon's Graceland, where he collaborated with African musicians. And I was just thinking about it the other day, because your first WMNF big hit from around 2008 or so was Make You Crazy, featuring Femi Kuti. And I was curious whether your appreciation for Graceland led you to bring African sounds into your music, which was kind of a big surprise for everybody. Tell us how that song happened.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think part of what Graceland meant for me as a kid was just a world of exciting, positive music. I mean, that led me to Caribbean music, and it led me to lots of different musics from around the world. And I was really into that for a long time. And in college, I got really into the music from the western part of Africa, which is more of like, well, it's at least it's more famous. It was more famous for funk and blues, like Afro funk and blues. And one of the most famous of them all was this guy named Fela Kuti, and his son is Femi Kuti. And I just, you could ask me who would you want to collaborate with. I could name a million people and never think that they would happen. But it just so happened that at the time that I was signing to the label that put that album out that you're referring to, Femi Kuti was signing with them as well. So we were label mates. So it was an easy ask because he was coming to New York to work on some stuff, and I was going to New York to work on some stuff, and so we could plan our trip so that we'd be there at the same time. And
so that was kind of a you actually worked together. He didn't like send it in over
No, I recorded the song
right?
first. I recorded the song in Los Angeles, and then I flew to New York to meet with Femi to have him sing on the song. And when he walked into the studio, he said hi to me, and he looked around the room, and then he walked out and he left. And his manager had to go out and get him. And then he came back in, and Femi said, "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to walk out. I just didn't know that you were you. I was looking around for Brett Dennen, and I looked at you, and I assumed that you weren't him. So I left."
Well, that sounds cool. It's a great song. So listen, Brett, you've had what now, 7 albums? Is that correct?
That's correct. More than that?
Yeah. So you've kept the quality high. How do you approach songwriting to keep going with all these albums? And you keep, some people can only come up with one good album and then they kind of run dry. You keep coming up with songwriting. How do you do that?
Well, I think it's just because I focus on the songwriting. I think people make great albums because they collaborate with great musicians, or their band is all like in love with each other at the same time or whatever. And I've never really gotten to have an experience where musically, I can strike some kind of a chord or have some kind of an inspiration to be on to something that is unique and sort of fuels the creativity. I've always just relied on the songwriting because that's, at the end of the day, it's just me and a guitar writing songs. So I just always focused on writing and trying to write in a way that perks my own interest and feels like something that I want to explore and stand behind and say something new or say something.
Is it a lonely thing that you write? You write all by yourself, or do you ever sit down?
I try to collaborate with people, but and sometimes it works, but usually, I do what I do. I'm a singer-songwriter because I want to be somebody who's just like expressing themselves in the way they see the world through music. And that's what's so unique about the singer-songwriter category. And I just keep getting inspired to recreate myself through music. So that's why I try to do it alone.
You talk about see the world through music. Your 2021 album had another WMNF hit with the title track, See the World. It's a song that sounds like a father giving advice. Is this a true personal song for you? You have a young son?
Yeah, I do. And it is, that is what it is. It's a song where I sing to my son, at least in the first verse. But I think, what I try to do a lot with songs, I try to start them in one place, and then see where they can go. So I think it starts out like an ode to a child, but then it quickly leaves that and it becomes more about just
a message to everybody.
Song for anyone who wants to explore the world.
Could you play that for us live?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, grab your guitar. I'd love to hear that.
Sure. Where you going, my brown-eyed son? You used to crawl, but now you run. You started off on a road half dark, river curling to a question mark. We sleep on diamond beaches here and drink from prism streams so clear. You don't have to be rich to get around. There are mansions growing out of the ground. Disco Bay, get out and see the world. Disco Bay, get out and see the world of the old days. And the journey took you far from home, and it pushed you out of your comfort zone. There's kids out there with war paint on, and hearts break like crayons. Before you left, the world was small. Now the hills are bleeding like waterfalls. There's a lot of bad things that are buried shallow, and cries for help with nowhere to go. Disco Bay, get out and see the world. Disco Bay, get out and see the world of your own age. It's hard to see what you're going through. Just knowing can beat up on you. You'll spend some time in a waiting place, and the purest things may leave no trace. Go up the mountain top and shine. I reflected on my long decline. I've gathered sunsets in my prime. Now I'm planting trees I'll never climb. Please go back, get out and see the world. Please go back, get out and see the world.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Brett,
thank you.
it's been great talking with you, and I love all your music and love your approach to life. It's a great optimistic view of life. So thank you so much.